Chelik. We're in Amid Beis. The Gemara had brought a source from the Torah that for Tchias HaMesim. So the Gemara had said, but the way Tondrei B'Shmuel explains the Pasuk, it has nothing to do with Tchias HaMesim. When it says Aaron, the Truma given to Aaron, it means a person, a Kohen, who has the characteristics of Aaron. The person is a Chaver. So we need another source. So what is the source of Tchias HaMesim in our Torah? Tanya, Reb Simoy Omer. See, it's right before the lines get wider, a few lines up. Minan Tchias HaMesim in Torah Shenemar, V'gam Hakimosi es Brisi Itom. I will also establish my bris with them. Losis Lem Eretz Canaan. Who's Itom's referring to the Ovos, Avraham Yitzchak and Yaakov. To give them Eretz Canaan. I mean, how could you give them Eretz Canaan? They already passed away. Avraham Yitzchak and Yaakov, they passed away. If it would say Lochem, Lochem lo nemar. Doesn't say I will establish my bris with you to give you the land, right? So you'll be there. Elo Lohem, but Lohem means it's going back on the Avos HaKadoshim. Mikan l'tchias hamesim in Torah. That ultimately Avraham Yitzchak and Yaakov, they will also be given Eretz Yisrael, meaning they'll come back to life. One second. So Rashi says, Elohim, the Mashif Tiech Kodesh Baruch Hu Lavosenu Avraham Yitzchak Yaakov Shiti Lohem Eretz Canaan V'chi Lahem Nitno. Reading Rashi. Halo Livneim Nitno was given to their children. El Malamed Shasidin Lichios Vosa Kodesh Baruch Hu Litin Lohem Es Eretz Yisrael. He will give them Eretz Yisrael. So there, that's a proof. Here, the Gemara doesn't refute this proof. Right? The first one wasn't refuted. It says it could be explained differently, so it's not a conclusive proof. Sholem Minim is Rabbi Gamliel. The heretics asked Rabbi Gamliel, Minasha Kodesh Baruch Hu Chai Mesi. They said, how do the Jews are of the position Hashem will resurrect the dead? How do you know that a Kodesh Baruch Hu will resurrect the dead? He says it's sourced in the Torah, in the prophets, and the Ksuvim. Torah V'im Ksuvim. Lo kiblu mimenu. And they rejected it. Lo kiblu. Even though he brought proofs from every one of them, Tanakh, Torah V'im Ksuvim, lo kiblu mimenu. Seemingly over here, the minim, before he said minim, he said it meant akum and goyim. Over here, minim definitely means the tzdukim. Because again, if you're a goy, so it says in your Torah, what does your Torah mean? If it's a tzduki means that they value it, Torah Shebechsav. Since Rabbi Gamliel's interpretation of Torah Shebechsav, that's the Torah Shebal Peh. So although he brought proofs the way he interpreted the Tanakh, lo kiblu mihim. Right? Lo kiblu mimenu min Torah d'chsiv. What is V'yom Hashem el Moshe? Hinoch shochi v'masecho. You're going to lie, meaning you're going to pass away. Then it says, v'kom. And then you will rise. I mean, if you're shochef, if you're dying, what do you mean v'kom? If the person dies, he doesn't get up again. Evidently, kom means tchias hamesim. Although Moshe Rabbeinu will pass away, it's v'kom. Omru lo, v'dilmo, v'kom om hazeh. It says, and v'zona, it says, and this nation will rise and they'll do avodah zarah. After Moshe Rabbeinu passed away, as Rashi says, as long as Yeshua ben Nun was alive, the Jews were not involved in idolatry. After the passing of Yeshua ben Nun, they were involved in idolatry. So V'kom is not going on Moshe. V'shochav, hinoch shochim l'sech, V'kom is going back on Moshe, but rather it's going V'kom om. The people will go and rise and do avodah zarah. Min ha'neviim, d'chsiv, Pasuk is, Yichayu, let's see the Pasuk Ches, just exactly how to read it. Yichyu. Yichyu Yimeisecho. Nevei Losi Yekumen. The dead will live, and the carcasses will rise. Hakitzu v'ranu shochni yofer. They will awaken, and they will sing those who lie in the dust. Ki tal oros talecho v'oretz refoim tapil. And the land of Rephoim will be cast down. Pasuk in Yeshaya. Okay? It's the pasuk. So this is explicit. That's Nevi'im. Yichyu meisecho nivlesi yikumun hakitzu. They will awaken. V'ranu shochni ofer. The shochni ofer will sing out. Why will they sing out? Gital oros talecho. Because your dew is the dew of light. The Eretz Rephoim Tapil. Eretz Rephoim is the land of those who were killed. You're going to cast that away. People won't die any longer. So it says, no, V'dilba Mesim Shech Yecheskel Minat. Yecheskel. Here, it's not speaking about the ultimate. Tchis Mesim Yecheskel, he actually resurrected 22,000 people. Right, the whole story. Right, it's Atzom Seiveshos. There were 22,000 Bnei Ephraim who left Egypt before. One of the pshatim in the Medrash is, it says, when Hashem led them out of Egypt, they did not take the Philistine route. Why? Because before the period to leave Egypt, the Bnei Ephraim left, people from Ephraim, and they were killed. They were killed, and their remains were just strewn along the side of the road. That were their remains. Those remains were resurrected by Yecheskel HaNavi later. Hashem gave Yecheskel the ability to resurrect them. So he says it's not speaking about the ultimate resurrection. It's speaking about those bones, the dry bones, the Atzom Siveshis that were resurrected. Okay? Now the question is, so what? But you see, is resurrection. So you see clearly from the Gemara, they weren't questioning at Stuki, at Sadducee. Torah Shabbat God gave. The interpretation, that's your interpretation. They're not questioning. They believe in God. They believe, of course, God created the world. God has the ability to resurrect. Yecheskel was a Navi. He resurrected him. The question is, we're talking about the ultimate resurrection. In terms of Schar V'Onish, as we explained, why is Tchias HaMesim a fundamental in a Jew's belief? Because really, this is an extension of Schar V'Onish. Right? As the Ramchal, I mentioned the name of the Ramchal. That the Neshama is the Olam Neshamas, is in the soul world after the person dies. And it says, as the Gemara says, it basks in the radiance of Hashem. Or about the body. The Neshama cannot function unless there's a body. Right? So it's a combination of body, soul. When is the soul? When is the body going to be rewarded? The body also has to be rewarded. When a person has difficulty, we say, Lefum Tzara Agro. Or you're challenged, and despite the challenge, you succeed. The body also deserves to be rewarded. The physicality of the person. Therefore, ultimately, the body, the soul has to be reinfused in the body, and together they're going to receive schar. This is the concept of what? Of Tchias HaMesim. So that Tchias HaMesim lost love. Of course, HaKadosh Baruch Hu could resurrect. So that Yecheskel resurrected the dead, the Atzos HaMashiach, doesn't prove anything. It proves that HaKadosh Baruch Hu could resurrect the dead, but that's not the question. The Minayin L'Tchias HaMesim that Torah, ultimately, he's going to resurrect the dead. Instead, that's the reason why the pasuk from Yecheskel is not a proof to anything. That's what the Tzdukim, these Minim, were saying. These heretics. Min Aksuvim. What's the proof from Ksuvim? Dichsiv. V'chikeich ki yayin atov. Your palate will be like good wine. Holech ledorei ledodi lemeishorim doviv sifsei yishenim. The lips of those who are sleeping will speak. Okay? V'dilma ruchushe imrach shetzvosa bi'alma. I mean, the Gemara says in Psochim that if you say something in the name of a person, Torah, in the name of a Talmud Chacham, right? Sifsos dovus bekever. The lips of that person move in the grave. When you quote the person's Torah, although the person passed away, he's affected even in the grave. It like he's touching the grave because he's quoting his Torah. So he said, who said it means resurrection? It only says the pasuk that the lips will murmur, will move. Movement to the lips, more than that, not. Has nothing to do with being resurrected. Take a look at Rashi. Let's do Rashi before. Hinoch shochiv v'musech v'kom. Hine ato mes shochiv. Hashem says to Moshe, you're going to pass away and lie in the grave. V'hine ato kom shetichiel osid lovo. V'ayv'kom ahanoch koi. That's how Rav Gamliel originally interpreted the pasuk. So they had said the meaning dilma v'kom ha'om v'zona. The kom is not going back on Moshe, but it's going on the people. The people will rise and do avodah zarah. L'kamekoi v'lavadleo v'hainu echod migimel mikros shein lem hechrei. There's no proof either. So why do we interpret it's going back on Moshe? It says v'kom v'zona. If a kom is rising. When you go, a person goes and does idolatry, you rise or you fall. Therefore, if the Torah is saying they're going to rise, rising is going back on Moshe. It's not going on the people. To do idolatry, use that term v'kom. But it's stukim, why not? It's not the end of the world, so that could be v'kom. So in the true interpretation, the kom is going back on Moshe. Hinech shochim v'mosecho, the kom, and you're going to get up. You're going to rise. V'zonom, after that, v'zonom, but they're going to do idolatry after you pass away. They said, who said? The kom is going on the people. They're going to rise and do avodah zarah. Okay. Not going to respond. Because there, physically he rose. Physically he rose. Right? A Russian gets off the seat to do whatever he does. Did he rise off his chair? He got up. He told him they did idolatry. You have to rise to do idolatry. You could still do idolatry too. It's v'kom. The term v'kom is a positive. It's something negative. Torah's not used to come on idolatry. To be continued. So, of course he got up. He got up out of his bed. Yeah, but it says Vayashkim Vayashkim Bildam Baboker. First it doesn't say Vayokum. It says Vayashkim. Yeah, that's Alec. It doesn't say it says Vayashkim. It doesn't say Vakum. He rose early. He rose early. It's like Alec. He's here. He rose early this morning. It's good. Yeah. Okay, but that's not what he said. Then it said the come is going on. They say the come. Shochev and you will rise. How? Yeah. Yeah. Hino shochev v'secho v'kom. Fits. How could you argue with a guy who took diktuk in Torah Vadas in 4th grade? You can't argue with the man. Jericho or Babylon? Okay. Talmud Torah, Sunday, 1959. You can't argue with Alan. If you understand how to read it, like I just explained, v'kom cannot go on avodah zarah. That's what Rabbi Leal said. It can't be. Right? Because you don't rise when you do idolatry. The term rising, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, Yossi Perlo's here. But you don't have to. Torah's not going to use that term. You can do idolatry when you sit with it. And they will rise and do avodah zarah. They will fall and do avodah zarah. That's a decline. That's not rising. That's what I'm saying. Thank you.